Hello, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and I'm delighted to be back filming another video for the Cult Pens YouTube channel. One of the things I love to do in my journal is set up a cover page for each new month, something which helps to kind of set the tone, maybe through the colours I'm using or any theme that I pick. For this cover page, I've started off by using some of the Stabilo woody pencils in the pastels set. And I'm going to use these to create a background all over the left-hand page. I really enjoy using the Stabilo woody pencils. They're nice and thick and chunky and you can cover big areas in your journal in a really short period of time. They're water reactive, which I'll be sharing with you in a moment, but they're also great for using on things like your windows for decorations, which I often do at Christmas, and then they wipe off really easily. I believe you can use them on things like ceramic plates as well. Just really good fun, but definitely great for using in your journals. So I decided to go for the 6 blocks of colour, and now I'm going to start adding water to that pencil on my page. It really helps to bring out their vibrancy, and of course also it means that you don't have to be particularly neat with your colouring because you're now going to be able to blend that out with the water. I've had one set of the woody pencils for quite a while now, but I'd seen the pastel set had come out and I decided to treat myself for my birthday because I find them just such fun for creating backgrounds and also mark making in my journal. Next, I decided to use some of the Talens Ecoline brush pens, and I'm going to use these to add some doodles with inside each of the coloured squares. I find this just so fun to do, a really relaxing way to spend a few minutes, and anytime really, if I'm looking for something to do but can't quite pick an idea, then doing some mark making and doodles is just always a really great place to start. I'm adding a different pattern or design in each of the squares, and on this one I'm playing with the pressure that I'm applying to the brush pen. One of the reasons I love these brush pens is that they have those really lovely thick nibs, but if you're light with them like I am now, you can also get some nice thin lines too. And I'll be sharing with you later in the video another one of my favourite ways for using these brush pens. This is my cover page for June in my art journal, and I wanted something that had a really bright and playful feel to the pages. For my right hand page, I decided to use 3 different colours in the brush pens. So I'm going to be using a yellow, an orange and a pink. And again, like the woody pencils, these are water reactive. And I find that these pens let out lots of pigment. So you sometimes have to be a bit careful on what sort of paper you're using, but they're just so much fun for adding lots of bright colour. Once I've got my 3 blocks of colour down, again I'm going to be using some water, And I want to try and soften the lines between each of the pen colours. So I'm going to be trying to create at least a little bit of a soft gradient. So I'm applying that water, and I will then kind of push some of the yellow down into the orange and some of the orange up into the yellow, if that makes sense, and do the same between the orange and the pink, so that I'm not left with just a solid line, that at least you can see them starting to mix together and flow into each other. I find that these work really well as an alternative to watercolours if you're perhaps outside or going away and you want to be able to use something that creates that watercolour effect without taking lots of your paints with you, and it's just a little bit less messy if you're on the move. And this is where I'm just softening out those lines a little bit and encouraging the colours that are next to each other to mix in together a little bit. Before moving on to this next step, you definitely want to make sure that your layer underneath is dry. So I'm using that big black brush pen again to letter out the word June. When I first started lettering, I would have really struggled with a nib this big. I'd definitely say start off with a smaller one if you're new to brush lettering, but they're absolutely great when you've got a little bit more confidence for adding some bold lettering and marks to your page. I'm now using that same pen to add some really simple kind of illustrations on my page. I wanted to go for a feel of kind of seed heads and grasses against a sunset, as if I was looking out into a really beautiful scene. So I'm just moving the pen backwards and forwards and then bringing it up into a tighter point. Once I've got the seed heads in place, I'm going to start adding the stems coming right up into the top of them. And I'm trying to do them so that they're kind of wavy rather than straight lines to give them a more natural feel. And I really like the way that the boldness of that black looks against the colourful background. Now that those are finished, I'm going to start adding my single strands of grass, and I'm trying to vary the length a little bit, keep them wavy and make sure they're crisscrossing over each other as well. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing how I created these cover pages for the new month. To me, they feel like summer, like I'm hopefully inviting in some lovely warm summer evenings, and that's definitely what I tried to go for in my cover pages in my journals, is something which sets the scene for the new month. Well, thank you ever so much for watching. I look forward to speaking with you really soon in another video.